All right, everybody. This is John with JCX Fishing. We're gonna have a guest on tonight. It's a little different than our normal Monday rundown because normally Mondays we do a uh, how-to or technique or bait thing. But uh, I had a weekend of fishing that wasn't the best, and we had some circumstances pop up, and so I just wanted to talk to you about being positive on the water. I'm going to invite our guest, Anthony Alardo, on here. Yeah.
I was like saying his name. Alardo.
Yeah, Constance will be right here, so she's coming around right now.
Me and my smart mouth are here.
Yes. So coming on is Anthony, and we'll get him on here and let Constance adjust the camera to where she wants. And
say like I'm so mean.
Well, I'm not. I'm not trying to be that way. But it's how it goes. See?
Well.
All right. So we have a couple watchers watching.
Hi, Anthony.
Hello.
Anthony, this is Constance. Constance, that's Anthony.
Yes. And you see, in the Olympics, you're not allowed to eat the medal, but in fishing, you can eat the medal.
I like it.
For those of you who don't know, that is what looks to be like a cookie that Constance made a couple days ago for my tournament, and I fished with Anthony on Sunday.
Surprised it's not stale yet.
No, I fished with Anthony on Sunday. We had a dash for cash on Sunday. We were both excited to fish it. We got the boat in the water, plenty of time. You know, I went and parked the truck and came back, and oh, you're fine. Came back and Anthony's like, we have an issue. And so, well, we did. A slight issue that kind of hindered us throughout the day, but we persevered through it. And Anthony, you're better at describing what happened than I am, so I'll let you take it away.
Well, basically, from what I'm told, I guess more of a computerized part than anything it's a known issue with Minn Kotas. Some guys get it right out of the box. Mine's 3 years down the road. And it just, the long and short is a trolling motor that used to go 3 mile an hour went 0.3 mile an hour. And just for people to get a reference, whenever there was a slight breeze, we went 0.6 mile an hour. So we actually were less than the wind and less than a kid swimming because he passed us. And at one point, we actually could not. Well, we talked about that, actually. We talked about whether we could take some paddleboard paddles and paddle us. I did try to get John to put a gondolier's hat on, and he could use my push pole and push us around, but he didn't like that idea. So we scrapped that one. We thought about harnessing some kayakers to us, like Santa's sleigh.
Yeah.
But the underlying issue was that something, the trolling motor wouldn't get its full power and it wouldn't stay on. And basically we were at the mercy of the wind, or no wind. It was not as bad in the beginning because it was very calm. That throughout the day, the wind did come on and off, and so we had to kind of almost tailor where we fished to that. It's funny though, because John, you mentioned, I think you either posted something or you did a show once not too long ago about who, I think you asked a question, who replays in their mind a tournament.
Yes.
And yes, I did a lot yesterday and I did a lot today. You know, like I started thinking about maybe, I know for me, I have my mental checklist, and then I have actually my prepping checklist, night of or day of the tournament, whatever it be, or you know, check the boat. Do I have gas? Do I have oil? Are the batteries charged? You know, are the graphs? I'll fire up the graphs. I'll turn the key on the motor just to hear it, just kind of turn over, just so I know that okay, everything's good. If I get to the water, I know then it's an issue. Maybe that's more small scale, something maybe got loose or rattled. I think I'll maybe implement now into it is just turn on the trolling motor one time, just see the thing spin and make sure that everything's good. Yeah. But you said that, and I started thinking about it today. And when I went back and replayed the day, something that really stuck out was that every fish we caught, we wouldn't have caught without the trolling motor problem, including the last one, which
Yeah.
was really interesting because we actually were headed south, and we joked about with the guys that were pan fishing that even though they were anchored, we would probably by Thursday pass them. We were trying to, just bear with us. And the wind changed direction, and then we couldn't pass them, which probably irritated them. And we actually headed back to where the direction we came from, and which ended up being the fish that won us the money came just because the wind switched, and we didn't really have no other option but to the biggest thing is play the hand is dealt you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
So it's meant to be.
that's just what it is. A lot of times, sometimes we talked about that too, John. That skill will put you in certain areas. It'll give you certain techniques, but at the end of the day, luck is going to be what decides your day, and it's how you decide you want to deal with stuff.
Right.
Everybody can get irritated. Everybody can get mad, and that's not to say that I don't at times. But I learned, I guess, many years ago. I used to be really good at bowling, and a few injuries away from probably going to the professional level. And one of the quickest things I learned was their mental game at that was the biggest thing. In that sport, my competitor cannot really do anything. He can't hip check me. He can't punch me in the face. He can do nothing to affect me. I can affect me. He can't. And when I did coach and stuff, some of the younger people and adults, that was the first thing I told them was that you always have to take a positive from a negative. Learn something, because if you do not learn something, and a negative is easier to learn from than a positive, because positive everything's great.
Correct.
It's all great, everything hunky dory. When tips are down and things are bad, if you can take something from that and bring it forward, you've already won without even realizing it. The day was won the minute we went out on the water because memories were made, fish were caught. None of that would have happened if we went home. And that's not to say if the wind was blowing in the morning, we wouldn't have no choice but to go home.
Right.
But you try to do the best you can, and you make the best decision based on whatever you think you can will be the best result for you.
Absolutely.
And, you can't. I mean, even if we would have had to have left, you just have to be mindful that was just meant for that day. Like it just for whatever reason, stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this sport stuff breaks. And everybody will agree, I think, that no matter what it is in life, things aren't always going to go your way, but it's what you choose to do when they don't. I mean, obviously, we saw another competitor have motor problems, and he called it a day. Like he mentally checked out, and understandable. I mean, I know he had a lot of issues with the boat, so leading up to it, he spent money on it, and he, and disappointed it wasn't running right. But that's the choice you make. Like either you can say, today, like, and maybe for him that was good, like, to say, what, I just I know I had that a few weeks ago where I had some truck issues, and people were nice. They I got offered a boat, I got offered a truck, I got offered to come out on my boat. For me that day, I felt like being on the water was just going to be, I wouldn't be my best when I was out there. I would be thinking about what was going on with the truck and then issues. That mentally it was a better day for me to just not be on the water. Sometimes that's the way.
So are you
okay.
saying you were at your best on Sunday?
I was saying, well, I'm not trying to say I was my best, but that being said, I believe the score tracker at the end of the day did say 3-2. I know it was tied up. You did come back and tie it, but I believe that when the chips were down, somebody was sitting in the back, maybe eating a cookie or putting sunscreen on. You did good with the net though. I was surprised. Like when I said it was a good one, you were you're quick. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But no, we did have some
cookie time.
Yeah. we did have a rough start of it. It was what, hour and a half, 2 hours?
Yeah, an hour and a half before we actually because we weighed in at we caught the fish at 7:40 and we beat we just made it in before the 8 o'clock hour. We were right on that cusp.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah, but I left it up to you. Your boat, your expense. Um, I left it up to you whether we went fishing or went home.
Sure,
And you're like, well, we're here. The weather's not too bad. Might as well go and see what we can do. Maybe we can win some money.
sure.
And I'm telling you, if it was a purse term derby, I'd beat you.
You did get a perch. You beat me in the perch.
Yep, yep, yep.
That was a pretty impressive one too. I mean, that was, I have to say, the perch was hooked good. The bass, surprisingly, came in kind of funny, but I mean, yeah, the bass was bigger, but the perch that was an impressive one. Like for it to be hooked straight, I mean, that was textbook.
Yeah. So we have this as far as having a positive attitude, and but let's go back to that because the one guy who left with the motor issues, he obviously said, "Forget it, I'm going home," and we just you decided for us. I mean, it was a team effort, but you said,
Green Goblin.
"Yeah, Green Goblin."
Thank you. It's not the Green Machine, not the Green Lantern, the Goblin.
Yeah.
It is the Goblin on it.
That was Ed Peland or Pyland. I can't remember how to say it. Piland said, "Good afternoon, Green Goblin."
Yes, that is he does all my the decals. He's done them all.
Okay.
And I need to hit up Ed because Ed, I need a new measuring cord. If certain people are going to catch perch, and I got to figure out if we can keep them, my one decal could be replaced.
Yeah. There you go. I can't blame you, but because they are big in that lake, I have proof. It was at least 3 inches.
Yes, it was a pretty. It was. I mean, I was right with the net. Like I thought.
You were there.
Maybe gap it. Thought maybe get a bigger boat. I was. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I feel like we went backwards. The trolling motor at that point, he was outpowering us. We moved back, and
Yeah. So one of the things that we did to was kind of make light of the situation.
I don't know why my comments aren't coming up.
I don't know. We didn't dwell on it. Things happen during a fishing day. You lose a fish, you drop a fish, but what really defines the person is not
Snapper doodles.
how they
Cheer on me.
fall, but how they pick themselves up.
Exactly.
You fall millions of times. You just got to pick yourself up one more time than that. And that's something I think we did. We handled the situation well. We realized, it couldn't be fixed right then and there. Let's go out, make the best of the day, and even if we got passed by an anchored boat, we still made the best of the day. We had a good time.
Yeah. We passed a skeeter. I mean, I don't know how that's is for skeeters but we passed a skeeter, but we got beat by an anchored
boat.
MFG.
Yeah,
I don't even know what it was. It's just some boat.
Yeah.
We'll call it double.
Go ahead and if people have questions, go ahead and ask them, because we're definitely wanting to answer some questions of how we handle it. Because we could have packed up, went home, but we stayed on point. Anthony got the job done with that big fish. I got the job done with that huge perch. It was about the size of my jig and trailer combined. But hey, we could have made almost a fillet for I don't know.
We could just ate it.
Yes, yeah. It could have fit in the sardine can.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is we bounced off of each other by joking around, and
I think you have to in that situation. I mean, it is a big thing. You can sit there and you can hang your head, and then, but at the end of the day, you will miss a fish because of that. You're just not going to be sharp. You're going to be, and it is why. Like at the end of the day, one thing one thing I've learned in the past is that you can do, like I did all that. So when I was younger, I had the temper issues, and I would throw my bowling ball or I'd kick the machine or something. And at the end of the day, as I realized, the only thing I've done is I either broke my property or someone else's. And the result was still there. Whatever, at the end of the day, you could be pissed off and you could break your rod and throw it in the water or do whatever. But at the end of the day, the trolling motor still broke. and it didn't fix it. So
Right.
might as well try to not compound and actually turn it into something positive, and which I think we did. I think even if we didn't, the fact that we just caught a fish, was a win right there, to go out and
Yes.
just catch something, or even if we didn't catch anything, just to go out. A lot of competitors had full use of everything and didn't catch anything or didn't have any results that wished they had cashed a check. So,
Yeah.
you know, it just, you have to, it's just all what you want to make of it.
Exactly.
And it can be in anything, work, relationship, anything. If you want to say something is just so bad that it makes you miserable, it's going to be worse. You're going to be more miserable than you were. Stuff happens, just deal with it.
Here's another good of perseverance. A friend of mine roomed with us up at roomed with me up at Oneida Lake. He says, "Hey, look at the bright side." He was practicing on Oneida Lake for 2 days, marking waypoints in the Florida Keys. Because his graph wasn't right, so he kept positive, started over on day 3, and
That's all you can do.
Like Florida Keys, what are we talking about? Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, and
Yikes.
and you have to realize things do happen.
Cookie Monster says that he's Polish and Irish.
Mix.
Yeah.
So he eats potatoes and so wait.
What?
Alcohol
And doesn't
Irish.
know anything.
Oh, so he's close to being Russian.
Yeah.
Okay, but no.
That explains a lot, Jeremy.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, Anthony. But
No.
I mean, we couldn't control the trolling motor.
Yeah.
Literally. That happens.
Sure.
I talk to people, and one of the things that they say is control the controllables.
That's all you can do.
What does that mean? People say, well, what's that mean? Well, if you can't control it, don't worry about it. And literally, you didn't really worry about the trolling motor once we started fishing.
You have to put stuff like that out of your mind. I mean, you hear about all the time, like any kind of sports, stuff. You have to put it out of your mind and just because at the end of the day, like one of the things that was easiest for me to do was to think back to when I was a kid. And we mentioned that, like,
yes.
We didn't have, you take for it actually is. Sometimes I'll do it is I'll turn off my graphs. I'll just go fish without them, or I'll just float around, because it allows you to appreciate what you have. Like, the technology, as good as it is, it can be bad too. Like, obviously, this is stuff that's computerized and chip boards or whatever. I think we both laughed about it. One of our first jokes, I think, was that we had to look quite comical staring at this boat, thinking we were going to repair it when we have no idea what we're looking at. Looked at some things, and we pulled some things, but at the end of the day, we weren't out boat mechanics, because this stuff is so advanced that if you don't have that, the knowledge base of working on it, it's hard to really. I did appreciate it, and I can't remember his name. The gentleman that did come up and try to help us, which took time out of his tournament to actually try to help.
It was Scott Callan.
And I think you find that a lot in our sport, that
yes,
people will reach out to try to help you if they can. And even the ones that said, even a simple thing of just saying, I'm sorry, I can't help you, is recognition that, hey, I see you have a problem and it sucks, and they would, wish you the best.
Yeah, I know you can't. You're not being able to see the comments, so
I do see them. I see one that says, "It was funny watching both of you."
Yeah.
He wants to know what was the issue. Did you figure that out?
No, and the funny part was that it seemed like as the day went on, new issues started presenting themselves. So,
oh boy.
Yeah, that's what it did turn into that. So it turned into. I mean, at that point, it was just like, okay, I guess it is what it is, and what can you do? Like, it did make me wonder, though. And John, maybe you would know. Because we kind of joked around about, hey, I had told you about one time when back in the days where the worst thing you worried about was just your trolling motor batteries going dead and being just dead on the water because you didn't have no battery power, and you would wave boats over to try to move you a little bit so that you could just fish. If you were staying in fishing a certain maybe weed line or something, it was calm. You just wanted to move a little bit so you get in fresh water. And I started wondering, like, had we had asked a paddleboard or something like, hey, toss them a line, like it just forward a little bit, like whether that's legal or not, because you're getting outside assistance, and I don't know. And I started wondering about that. Like, would have been funny to do it, but would that have been breaking a rule? Just what you think about.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Well, I mean, you can be towed in by a total stranger.
Yeah, but
in that case, though, you'd be actually still competing. So right. I wondered, I mean, but it would have been funny. We did say, like, if we could, we did get passed by the paddleboarders. So it was a whole herd of them. We were half of Santa's sleigh. It would have been kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think, like with us, there was both of us, so we could make jokes of it. But if you were by yourself, how do you keep the mindset of going?
To me, I think it's easy. A few years back, I got hurt at work, and it was pretty serious. I mean, should have went to the hospital, didn't, because I knew what was coming if I did. I knew fishing season would be done, work season would probably be done, but maybe lose my job because in my profession, there's workman's comp, but it's not really workman's comp. Like, you better know that you're really hurt, because you're probably there's a gazillion ways to get rid of you and say they don't want to. So, but what kept me going, like, and I did consult with some people, what was the best way for treatments that could maybe help me out. And I had a year, I did actually adjust my fishing to accommodate to wrist injury and stuff like that. But I look back, and that year, I caught more 5-pounders in that year than I had in previous years and 2 years going past it. I think of the memories that I wouldn't have had, if I had gone to workman's comp and I didn't work. Well, now you can't fish because you're pretty much just don't do anything. So I think how you keep your mindset is that you think of all the things. If you had gone home, what would I have missed out on that day? Okay, I wouldn't saw the bald eagle. One ate the big cookie, or 5 of them.
Hey, I wasn't gonna throw you under the bus for knocking you over the head and taking cookies. I wasn't gonna throw you under the bus.
No, we would have missed out on jokes.
Yeah.
Got fish with somebody. It was a nice day. It was a little bit warm. It was a good day. I mean, it was nice out. It wasn't really a lot of boats were there. For as nice as it was pretty decent. We didn't get yelled at by anybody. That's a positive.
That's a win.
I think just we would have missed out on the whole experience of, do we weigh in now? Do we not weigh in now? Do we wait? Do we, the whole enjoyment of what that tournament was about? And thanks to Prime Time for putting it on, because it's a different mind. That's like, a lot of times I talk to people, and it probably goes to some of this. The mindset of a tournament. Like, a lot of people think tournament fishing, you just go out and just fish. Like, that's all there is to it. And there's so much more to it than that. It's dealing with, yes, you had a game plan, and we had a game plan. And you play in your head how you think the day's going to go. Okay, well, the day quickly changed, and that game plan changed. So it's reevaluating coming up with a new game plan going forward. And you have to just mentally just put a lot of stuff aside, or just move on from it.
Your connection is okay over there. Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, there he is.
There he is. Okay. So
it's still a little
shaky. We're getting a bad connection here.
That's
so
okay.
There we go.
Good evening. And
we're back.
Our RJ's on here now, and I want to say thanks to RJ and Primetime Trail for hosting the tournament. It was fun. He was genuinely concerned about how we were doing and stuff like that, and so thank you very much for putting on that tournament.
That was the whole experience. I don't think anybody didn't have a good time, and even the ones that didn't, that'll say, well, the lake was terrible, and we talked about that sometimes, even though people don't think the bite is good, but there's still fish there. And actually, I thought even though we didn't catch a lot, but we couldn't really attack the lake in a lot of ways. I think I would have at least liked to have. When I look back, for a lake that I thought, like we had joked that maybe 2.25s would have been maybe a chance to win some money. I think almost every hour was a 3-pounder or better. Like, was in the 3 pounds.
Yes.
There was only, I think, three, and I think I don't think any first place were under 3 pounds. I don't believe. There might have been one, but I don't think so. And that's, for a lake that everybody said would fish small, I was surprised. Like, and it was nice to see that there was some pretty good fish that were weighed in.
Yeah, I was severely shocked on that, because you go to a tournament there and 12 pounds could win the tournament.
Sure.
But then you see, I think there was 7 or 8 fish over 3 pounds weighed in.
Exactly. And I would have been curious to. I know they had maybe the tournament that was there the day before. I don't know. I
think it was like 15 pounds. I think 15 pounds won it.
So what lunker was? Like, I was just curious if it was in the same area as what was. I mean, obviously each day was right there. 2.86 was only one. So I mean, so that's good. I mean, that's nice. I mean, that was
So
a nice fight.
That's an average of over 3 pounds of fish. Winning the hour.
The first one we caught was 2.50, and we thought, like, based on just the way Honeyway is, that was potential. We joked, actually. We mentioned, what hour should we weigh it in, because most days a 2.5 fish on Honeyway is something that might win you money. Like,
Right. Yeah. So RJ says 13.67 won the day before.
Oh, okay.
And 3.78 was lunker before the day before.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, RJ's, for those of you who don't know, RJ's the one who runs the Primetime Baits and the Primetime Trail. So he has all the information right at hand. And one of these days we'll get RJ on here to talk about his trail and stuff like that. We'll talk to him. And this is the first time I'd ever fished with that, and it was very smoothly run.
I think too, I think in RJ's case, even, it ties right into this same subject line, because here's a guy that really wanted to be out there fishing.
Yes.
And how tough was it for him to sit there and just watch people bringing fish in, and maybe in his mind wondering, where would I have stacked up in that? Would the bite been good for me? Would it not been good? RJ usually fishes really good there. So it had to be tough for him. But then on the flip side, I mean, how proud would he have been that watching his son every time he weighed a fish in and actually win some of the money? Like, I think he won an hour, and I think he came in second 1 or 2 times. So, there was that mental part of it both ways. The sorrow and disappointment maybe not getting out there, but then the appreciation of seeing his son do good in it. So, like I said, that's a lot of times in our sport, in the sport especially, your mind is your biggest hindrance.
Correct.
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's and this is what I try to explain to people is it's really like most tournaments other than this one. This one is obviously 14 bite, but most tournaments it's 5 bites. And I've always been one you can break it down as much as you want to break it to make it tolerable. I'm convinced my boat cost me $15 a day, and that sounds a lot better than the big ticket number that I signed my name to.
Yeah.
But it's 5 casts. I mean, those 5 casts could come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or spread out over 8 hours or 7 hours or whatever the length of the tournament. So it's that, and then even in once again, something I always tell people is, you fish till the last possible minute, because you may not win if it's maybe best 5, but there's always that lunker, and in this case there was 14 lunkers that you were fishing for,
right?
And that's only 1 cast. That's one time of setting the hook, and even most tournaments, a lunker's $150 to $200.
Yeah.
So why would you give up a half hour or an hour? I mean, that's, if you're flipping, that's 30 flips maybe or more, you could get 30 more opportunities.
Yeah.
So you have to just always be grinding and just say, my next. That is why I think, and maybe Constance would probably agree, that why you maybe at times say, I'll be home in an hour, and 5 hours later you come home, or 10, because it's that in your mind. No, it's hard to quit, because you never know if that next cast is the big fish for the day,
Right.
or maybe the big fish of your lifetime. So
Yeah.
it's just that constantly just staying upbeat, and I don't know. That's why I like fishing. I think because I tell people all the time. I've never gone on the water, even like with that yesterday. I've never gone out and said, I wish I didn't go out there.
Right.
Just no matter how bad it is, I'll go out for 10 minutes. It's
Right.
Right. Like they say, a bad day on the water is better than a good day at the office.
exactly. There's far worse things that could, okay, we broke a trolling motor broke. A lot of worse things happen in the world than a trolling motor break. Yeah, it's going to be expensive probably to fix, I guess, or maybe it won't be. I don't really know. But I can't change it. Like whatever it is going to be. It didn't affect my life outside of a trolling motor breaking.
Right.
Still went about my day. My dog still decided to bite me the same as when I didn't have a broken trolling motor.
So this is the guy I went with the day that we went fishing a couple hours.
So didn't come home till like 9 o'clock at night.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's.
I don't care if you're out all day. I just need to know. So I was like, did something happen? Like.
Oh yeah, I've gotten calls like
paperwork. Like, what's going on?
I've gotten calls. Are you still out on the water? Like, is everything okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just you plan to leave, and then someone else shows up, and you're like, okay, let's go. Like, I'm recharged. Let's go.
No, I didn't. Yeah.
Or sometimes
I didn't mind it. I didn't know that was what was going to happen, because he's like, oh, I'll be in before lunch, and I was like, oh, okay, and.
Yeah, that's just be another subject line. Always tell people where you are, or that you're safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
people worry.
And that's one of the reasons why I've been asking about cell phones, because most of the places I go, my cell phone doesn't work.
Yeah, and I mean, usually it's so funny, because I'm like, oh, I probably should have paid more attention to who he was fishing with, because he'll like rattle off names like, oh yeah, so cool, yeah, have a good time, and I'm like, oh, I probably should have paid more attention, because if I knew, then maybe I could have like messaged you or whatever.
Sure.
But so now I pay a little bit more attention.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, if we didn't have a good attitude about yesterday, most likely we wouldn't have caught that many fish.
Oh yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think like I said, I think it takes your mind out of things, and you're not focused, and maybe you get a bite and you're thinking about something else, and you miss it. For example, that was I fished Silver Lake 2 weeks before, and she fished in a marina, and I mean, it's like and I mentioned to you, like, you skip under like pontoons, and you're like, wow, like I can't believe I'm not catching a fish here. Like these are like textbook casts and that. And then the moment I get a bite is when a bee was like literally landed on me, was ready to sting me, and I go to swat it at about the same time I'm getting a bite, and there goes the fish, and it's that momentary just. You're focused on something else at that time, and they want to get stung. But that's just it. I don't think if you go out there and you're all, and that's why I said maybe for that other competitor, maybe because he was so mad about it, that maybe going home was better, maybe in some ways, because for him at least.
Yeah.
Because at that point, well, what have you been able to see? Just enjoy, like, and for me, I just being able to get out there is enjoyment.
I'm getting old.
Oh, yeah, her backhand and shoulder starting to bother her a little bit.
It's funny. I hear that about the back, because like yesterday, like I don't know. I don't usually take Advil or anything, but I felt this like undesirable need to get some aspirin at certain points, and maybe cortisone shot.
Are you trying to say you were carrying me?
No, I was not saying that at all. Actually, I give you kudos. You were down early, and then you persevered, and you did. I mean, you came back.
Oh yeah.
You were focused.
I told you, man. 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock.
You
I'll get a fish.
you won the lunker. You won the lunker on the
Perch.
perch, that's for sure. Yep. And actually, I believe that you did call one of your fish. Although you said I would catch it, I think you caught one right where you said we would get. Like you said, you're going to get
Yep.
one right here, and then I think,
Yeah.
I think you got it instead I did. I got a couple bites there, but I think you actually did catch one right there, which was kind of
Yeah. I had your back.
yeah. So that was a good one. Like, I mean, I think that's what it is. I think when it comes to team tournaments, I think that's what I think that is the big thing is, and for some people it's hard to do that because maybe if they fish singles tournaments a lot, or maybe just their way their personality is,
Right.
it's hard for them to accept someone else telling them a certain thing, or hey, I'm noticing this. Why don't you try this or something? I think that was the big thing. I think we fed off each other pretty good on that day as far as what do you think about this spot? And I mean, I think even the fish you caught, we were going to go to it. We were headed to another spot, and then at the last minute, I remember we said, based on practice, we had a couple weeks before that, let's go try over there because we had caught some good ones over in that area. So let's just go let's give it a try. And and then once again, because of the way the wind was in the trolling motor, we said that might be a good spot for us because we could tuck it out of everything, and we probably could fish it comparable to way anybody else was fishing. And that was one of the spots that was actually, we fished it pretty good. Like I can't really say the trolling motor hurt us there.
No, we definitely fished everything thorough.
Yeah. No, people are probably like I think we mentioned that, like the people were probably like, wow, those guys really are picking that spot apart. Like they are not moving. Like they must really be getting them there. Like look at that. They're literally. Of course, somebody was probably like, wow, like they are like we got on top of that boat that's anchored. Like you think they would just go past them? Like what?
How rude! How
like,
rude!
Like,
but no, the guys that were anchored there, they were at the dock with us when we were working. Well, let me rephrase that. Well, I was working with you, watching you work on the trolling motor.
Oh, government job, huh?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so they went out, they fished for a little while, and we ended up getting out there, and so we were talking to them while we were fishing, But no,
I'm sorry.
I mean, there was a lot of adversity there.
There was.
But,
and
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think with that boat even, someone that recognized that we had a problem, and you could almost, even though they didn't know us from anything, you could almost see like a little excitement that glad you guys made it out. Like that's cool.
Right.
Like you guys got off the dock. Like, and I think that when you use little things like that, like that it's uplifting to you. That is, and it does motivate you to keep going because But I think that's the one thing about our sport. Like it doesn't have to be people that are in the competition or not. Like just you can joke around. You can find. I mean, the day. Although we all are trying to catch. We want to catch fish. We want to catch big fish. Right. For me, at least, I can appreciate someone else doing it. Like I can appreciate when seeing a kid catch one, and it's his first catch of the day, and it might be as big as that perch you caught, but in his eyes, it's a trophy. So, I think that's how you stay positive on the water because it's just all the different things that you'll see when you're out there, and sometimes it's hard to describe some of that stuff that you do see to somebody. Like they can't see it through your eyes, like or maybe you don't have the right words for it. And only being out there in person is the only way you really can truly appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They were saying I was listening to the radio today, and they're saying the best way to be more positive is to find the joy in other people's lives and help them celebrate that. So like you're saying, someone catches a fish, oh my gosh, that's amazing, great, great job, good for you. Instead of being like, oh, I wish I could catch a fish like that. So you just and it does take a lot of practice. I mean, for me, like I used to have a crazy short temper, and now I'm sure John can attest, I am the chillest person, probably just about almost. But
yeah, she's chill.
Yeah. So it's just it some of it does take a lot of practice. Not flying off the handle at certain things. But I thought that was a very good good lesson is find the joy in other people's lives and help them
Oh
celebrate.
yeah,
It really will
yeah, you
turn
have to.
your day around too.
Yeah, I remember years ago, we'd go fishing out in our my buddy's boat, and just an aluminum boat up in the Oswego River. We might have had a cocktail or two, dozen, and we and I get upset. Next thing I know, I'm launching my rod in the water.
Yeah.
No temper there, but
When we first started dating, I remember you broke a laptop throwing it across the room. Like, well, that was smart, wasn't it? Who'd you hurt? Yourself. Now you gotta go buy a new laptop.
yeah, but but we could have all just said, forget it.
Yep.
And I think we had a good day. We had
I think
fun
we did
blast.
too.
I mean, we couldn't do anything but power the motor up and go to a spot, and then hope the wind would take us. And so we made the best of it.
I think so. We can say that one thing we can say is that every spot we went to, we caught a fish. That every spot we decided we were going to go there and fish, and sometimes it's your victories aren't always like these grandiose things. They're small sometimes, and they're more moral victories than anything.
Yeah, and I think the biggest victory yesterday was getting out on the water. Making that decision.
I think sometimes okay, it's raining out. Oh, I made it the whole day, and I didn't quit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be that. It doesn't always have to be. Well, I won the whole tournament. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that. Like that, even though it was one fish, 1 hour, it wasn't $40,000. But in the grand scheme of things, it was huge because of just could have been sitting. It could never happen. None of it. Not one of those fish. At the end of the day, I know people that I work with that wish they got out fishing. I showed them a picture of a fish and they were like, wow, like I've never caught one that big. And it's not the biggest fish, but on that day, that fish was bigger than any fish I've ever caught, probably, because realistically, it could have never been caught.
And that's one of the things that we broke it down was, okay, we only have to get one fish to get a check.
Right.
And because you got to weigh in a fish every hour. It's not like we had to get 5 fish in 5 hours. We just had to get one fish in 5 hours.
I think that was the biggest thing for me. At least the way I looked at it was, I only had to connect one time, and it doesn't even have to be a first place. It can be a second place, and our tournament money comes back, and we go to the positive. Right. In which case, you made money. That's your whole goal. because you're gonna fish a tournament, you want to make money, and it just means drop the hammer one time, and it's the right one, and then the day is a winner. And so for us, and I do have to get to your cut. I got to figure out that's more technology for me. So but that's at the end of the day, there was guys that didn't they were donators. We always say in our sport, we're either donators or collectors. And yesterday we were collectors for everything that happened. We went out and we collected. Wasn't a big amount, but it was collected. And actually, a couple little breaks. We lost first hour that we fished. Well, actually, in the first 15 minutes of the first hour, or the last 15 minutes of the first hour that we fished, we were 0.07 up $200 more.
Yep.
And really, we were just your perch going inside my fish's mouth, or my fish eating your fish, or maybe a couple of Constance's cookies inside the fish, and you win big fish for the tournament, because I think that was a 3.9 and ours was a 3.5 in the 3.5s. So you're right there, and then that's $400 more. So
not to say anything, but I don't think my perch would have helped that much.
Well, we're just trying to get as many ounces as we can. We're just trying to build it up little at a time. Remember, little small steps.
I don't even think that perch weighed an ounce.
That's why you like to bring cookies. You feed it to the fish.
It's illegal in tournaments. No, but
Sounds like you guys should have packed like a romantic picnic. You guys were just like breezing along on the water.
We actually,
I felt like I kind of felt like I was back in Italy. Well, except for the gondolas went faster than we did.
yeah, we had a boat race and we won the boat race.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe those guys didn't know they were boat racing, but we knew we were boat racing, and they were going fast. Like, I mean, we did say like that was kind of aggressive, like how fast they were driving past us, and we did give them a head start. And if and if anybody on here that knows Mike Rogers, because I did get a call from him today, and now he wants to race for pink slips. But if anybody on here, we did give him a lead, and I was eating a cookie at the time, and we passed him. And that's all.
And he didn't choke.
See, there you go.
And this was bigger too.
Your boat felt that sugar rush.
So,
Raising I love it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I guess the key takeaway from this
always have Constance cookies.
Yes. Yes. And I think the key takeaway from this is, as far as being positive, is if you can't control it, forget it.
Exactly. You have to.
I mean, you can't control the rain, so don't let it bother you. You
right.
can't
Get a good rain too.
What's that?
I mean, you just. I think that's a big thing. We know you're gonna have bad days, inclement weather. So you buy gear so you can take that out of there. Like, okay, we know it's gonna be cold, so buy something that's warm.
Yeah.
People all the time tell me like, why? Like you go fishing, then it's cold. Well, if you saw my closet of clothes that I have, it's not cold when I'm out there because, and it's kind of even that, like, to the mindset is in the springtime. A lot of guys will say, well, it's too cold to go. I don't want to go. But you ice fish. So you can sit on a frozen lake, but you don't want to sit in a boat when it's 50. Like, that's too cold.
Wait a minute, there's nothing wrong with this fisher.
It's your, I think that's the big thing. Like, good or bad is, and even you have to check your mind when it's good things, because you don't want to get too high. Like, and then, you get all, then you're getting all just puppy crazy or something. You're running around like a maniac. You want to try to keep that even keel, and just as stuff comes, instead of being a roller coaster, you want to try to make it just a little speed bump like thing.
Yeah.
Kid coaster. And I think that's it. But then, like I said, it's, even if we didn't win any money, if you go out and have a laugh, when a lot of days where people these days are getting, seems like, find something to complain about or tear you down about, to go out and have some fun is a big day.
It was. I mean, I had fun. I really did have a good time. And what would have happened if we did have the trolling motor?
Right, like I said,
we'd have covered more water, but we wouldn't have gotten that fish.
And like I said, I think sometimes maybe in some ways, we fish better without it in some certain spots in certain areas, because instead of going 100-mile-an-hour past the spot, I think in one, actually, I think you said you cast it in and you got a bite.
Yep. And
then you cast it back in. Now, if we had a trolling motor, we might have blew right past there. Like,
we will. Yeah, because that's the one where I cast in and got a bite, and I cast it right back in there, and I felt something brush up against my line, which I thought was a weed. So I set the hook and I side hooked the fish.
Yeah, and I can honestly say the first fish that I caught, like right when I pulled up in there, I knew we were out deeper than I probably really wanted to be.
Yep.
No, I might have just put my trolling motor up on 6 or 7 and just said, okay, let me get in there. Like, let me get in where I want to get to. But instead, we just fished our way in because we didn't have much choice. But
right.
But it all worked. But actually, it's funny because it actually put us on our pattern.
Exactly.
Because we said, wow, we were out here and we seen other guys in shallower that weren't really catching them, and we had caught that one pretty quick out deeper. And we knew then right away, like, okay, well, maybe we need to focus more out on the edge of the weed line, and that's where we caught all our fish. Was out deeper. That last one came in the same amount of water and on the same bait as the first one.
Right.
Sometimes it's those things that the signs get given to you out of your own doing, and you just got to take it and just go with it.
Okay.
And,
all right.
Do we get questions?
Yeah. Is there? I'm not seeing too much over here.
Not much chatter.
Yeah. Anyone have any questions about our experience, how we stayed positive, or something? Any suggestions that might help other people stay positive? go ahead and
Don't
shoot
be
them out.
jerks. There we go.
Yeah,
Maybe
You're
somebody could just tell us a story about how they stay positive.
yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
somebody overcame.
You know, I remember back into my military days. You know, even though I might have had a couple of beverages, you know, staying positive wasn't always the easiest thing to do. Someone telling you what to do and you know it's not right, but you did it anyway and then took care of it later.
Sure.
But you know, fishing and bowling is very similar, you know.
It's very mentally
Yep.
challenging.
Very mental. It's
Yep.
you know, fishing
Bowl.
is you against the fish, bowling is you against the pins in the lane.
And even though you could be team or individual, even in a team, you're still our individual in a way because
Correct.
it's your own. I mean, and that's a perfect thing. I think that's where I think even like you're whoever once you go to a team, the other you can feed off the other person. You know, how
Yes.
is the other person gonna pick you up when you're not? Like, okay. I think that was what like one of the big things was your attitude was just as positive as mine. And so it was easy to feed off of that. Like, you know, you could have easily said, well, this sucks. I was out yesterday and had boat issues and now I've got boat issues again. And then where, you know, and it would have went, you know, it could just went south from there.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, how people can always say they want to team up with each other on this or that, but maybe if they not good personalities or just maybe they just aren't a good match.
Yeah.
I think that's you have to be personalities that feed off each other, and sometimes opposites are good for that because they can open your eyes to something different. And you know, I think one that we mentioned that in the beginning, like what are you going to throw for a bait? I'll throw this, and it's just you can there's a lot of different things that go into a day, like how it's going to turn out.
Here's Captain Pink.
There's Mr. Rogers right now.
Yeah. They just because his boat's not as fast as yours.
I mean, when his own partner messaged me earlier, he said he hung his head. His wife asked him what happened. He says, I don't know. Some green boat blew by me. Like I don't even know what happened. It just like was a blur. And I think the guy was eating a cookie. And and I said, well, maybe maybe you guys having motor problems? Like we had motor problems too, but hey, make the best of it. See, like that. Now I believe they did not cash a check. So maybe once they lost the boat race and didn't have any good cookies, they were like, "Well, this sucks. This day's terrible.
Like, I'm out." Yeah.
They just mentally checked out, and then and then they went to the dock, and then when they saw us pull our fish out, I think we had like a 220 and a 220 maybe for that hour. They were like, "Wow, that 220 or 17 thing that they pulled out, or the little 6-inch fish that they thought they were going to weigh in, they were like, wow, this isn't our day."
Yeah.
Should have just thrown him a cookie. What made him feel better?
No, we don't give nobody the cookies. Don't give out your snacks.
No, like the cookies stay with us.
Yeah, cookies always stay in the boat. Snacks stay in the boat unless it's an emergency situation. I did learn from a long time ago from a friend.
Now if he'd have let us tie off around this boat and have him troll us around for a little bit, maybe we'd have shared.
Maybe.
That would have now like some true sportsmanship. Maybe some of the boats that were fishing into the wind could have said, "Hey, we'll toss you a line back about 25 yards, 25 feet, anything, and we'll just tug you along down the weed line." Yeah, we could have just, we're not trying to get it. They were being kept our distance. Like we'll fish your dirty water because we'll catch them behind you.
Yeah.
So Anthony told me that he has to make me his famous chocolate chip cookies.
Yes.
I believe I said world famous.
World famous. I do apologize.
I don't.
His world famous.
And I will let you know.
Chocolate.
A chick in Ethiopia said they're the best cookies she's ever had.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
If I had entered them, they probably could win sometime. I just, yeah. I'm just telling you, like there's a lot of. I just have a few older ladies that I pass them out to just to see what their opinion was, and I'm not gonna brag and say that they said they're better than the ones they make, but they said they were better than the ones they make. Like,
hey,
you know, not to
That's
start an
another-
argument.
that's another-
Did they-
That's some gold sticky stars right there, bro.
did they-
We should
did they have
probably put that into a show too at some point. Like, there's no reason to starve out in the boat. Like, bring stuff out there. Bring your snacks.
Yeah.
Bring the snacks.
Oh, trust me, I bring snacks.
You got to bring snacks.
Look for the snacks.
And I think I commented that I didn't bring my lucky candy, and that I was more disappointed about the candy than the trolling motor, because I was like, I was happy the bald eagle came over because I knew that I always catch a fish with the bald eagle, but I was a little perturbed that I forgot my candy, because nothing's more uplifting than a good piece of candy.
So can you reveal what your good luck candy is or no?
Oh, shockers. Yeah,
Shockers?
sweet tart shockers. Yeah, they're anybody likes sour candy, get some shockers. They come in rolls and they come in bags. If you find those, I mean, there's sometimes hard to find them. I don't know why. Some of the convenience stores, I know Walmart used to carry it. Yeah, it's like potato chips. Once you get one, you eat 10 or the whole bag. Your stomach does make that kind of funny feeling. They're kind of cool for giving to people. Like, you just tell them they're sweethearts, and then you make sure to give them, like, so that they do the whole chipmunk cheek. Yeah, you gotta just not give them one, give them like a whole mess of them. And when they actually take that first, like, get that all in there and realize that it's as sour as what they were not expecting, but they're not sweethearts. Yeah, I've had people spit them out, which it sucks, because, like, don't waste them. Like, pick it up.
Good candies.
And now, how could you? I mean, this is pretty much how our day went yesterday.
Oh, I could sit here for hours.
Yeah, we were just joking and laughing and having a good time.
I'm born with a gift of gab, and
That's all right.
and I think that some of the thing I like I think that what's easy is because when you fish tournaments, you get partnered up with people you don't know them, and and sometimes it's 8 hours. Like, you're out there for a day. Like, so why not make the best of it?
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's not that you're going to get along with everybody. There's going to be some times that you're people you're just like, man, I can't wait for this day to end. But for the most part, it is. I will say 90% of the time, it's a great experience. Like, you meet people and just hear different things of maybe different things that they're involved in, or just different personality than yours, or just to fish different than you do. And we can kind of get stagnant at times. So it's refreshing sometimes. Okay, why? I mean, like, obviously, you threw the jig with the little blue craw.
Yep.
And we've kind of mentioned it, like, okay, that jig was a lot smaller than the one I was throwing. So sometimes, you see someone catch something like that, like, okay, well, maybe I should. Or we talked about, actually, even the partner had on Silver Lake, that the technique was something I would never. I still don't think I'll try it, but it opens your eyes to.
We'll call that the parachute rig. But Justin has a comment. Justin Salisbury. One thing food or snacks can do is calm you as well. Anglers often do not eat in tournament, which can affect their sugar levels. A nice snack can cause a smile.
That's so true. That is exactly true, Justin. I mean, I used to be like that. I never would. I wouldn't. I mean, if I take a break, then I might cast or do something. And then a good friend of mine, he said all along, "There's just because you're out fishing doesn't mean you have to starve. Like, you got time to eat." And then, just like Justin said, sometimes you don't realize it. Maybe you take a 5 seconds to just take a drink of water, get a snack, eat something. You kind of almost recharge your batteries. You reset, and it can actually be beneficial to you.
I think it's because some people, they get so focused on what they're doing that they
Sure.
kind of tend to forget they got to eat.
You get like that at work sometimes, and even on the boat. I bring a lot of stuff sometimes, like even like water and stuff like that, and then hot days, like, was hot yesterday.
It was.
You have to really be disciplined to say, like, I'm going to make sure to be. I actually think at one point I just pulled my water jug right out, and I just put it right next to me, because that way I know, like, okay, take time to drink your water, because
Hi, love.
Well, it's important, and you don't think about it.
Can you play with?
But if you're thinking about Oh, we got another,
With a
Mike
Play-Doh?
Rogers has a question for you.
Oh, let us ask away.
That's not Jeff, that's Anthony. Do you want to say hi to Anthony? No. No. Okay.
All right,
No.
Mike Rogers has a question,
Play-Doh is a
two
little
questions
plate
actually.
tonight.
Did Jen
Okay,
beat you
no.
on silver?
Tomorrow.
And do you think the
She
Green
did.
Goblin is faster than the Skeeter?
She did beat me on Silver Lake. Matter of fact, I commented. I believe that Jen is known to put you on the juice, and then you kick her off, almost like you hire a guy, and then you get rid of her. She did. She hung a that was a great fish she caught, and like I said, that was a perfect example. Was that a technique in the way she was fishing something? Was a lot different than normal people, like people would fish it. And we had mentioned that yesterday, that you cannot, just because you fish something a certain way, it doesn't mean it's the only way.
Right.
And Jen's fish on Silver Lake was a perfect example of that. That you whatever the fish is going to tell you what they want, and sometimes you can have something that looks obtrusive to you, but that's what the fish wants on that day. They want it that way. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, I have a question for you. Are your cookies as big as Constance's?
Thanks for noticing.
No. Well, the smaller.
They're what?
I believe they're higher than hers. I've never tried to make a cookie that big. Maybe that's my new challenge now.
All right,
I'll
so
go back on that one.
I use a
might
quarter cup scoop.
Yeah, I might have to try that.
Yeah. Go on.
he uses a sharp knife and Chips Ahoy.
I mean that little elf dude. We've had him a couple times.
Just made some snickerdoodles too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. First time ever making. I've never made snickerdoodles ever.
Now, who's that in the background? I can hear something.
That's Xandra. She's the X in JCX.
See, now, like, part of what you were saying too about how do you stay positive and stuff like that. Like for me, and I'm sure for you, it's okay. You're gonna go home to your wife, your kids, and you're gonna hear all the stuff.
I'm going home with my kid.
And see right there. See, you're gonna see a nice smile, and and at the end of the day, for me, I thought, okay, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna play with my new puppy, and I'm gonna see what things he learns today, and
yes,
and so it's like I said, it's a trolling motor. There's bigger things in the day that can come about.
Yeah.
Can I have a bite of that cookie?
And coming down to it, we talked about it throughout the day. It's not our livelihood. That's not how we're making a living. That's not how we're feeding ourselves or our family or anything like that. We're going out there just to have fun, essentially.
Oh, okay.
And it's funny because you hear a lot of people like that. I think Mark Zona was one of the things he said. I would never want to do fish for a living because then it's the enjoyment out of it. And that was one of the big things that I always told when I coached in bowling was I would tell the kids because I got to a point in the sport where I just was burned out. It wasn't enjoyable. It was not fun. And it was something that I was really passionate about. And when it stops becoming fun, then that's sad because it doesn't have to be that way.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I was reading.
Yeah. I got
snickerdoodles are good.
I got that way with basketball in the Army.
Sure.
I played on the post team and everything like that, and softball as well. And when I came back to the States, I basically said, "No, I don't want to."
Yeah. It's easy to do that. It was easy yesterday to just say, "Well, the troller's broken. What are we gonna? You can't fish like that." But you just have to, you have to factor in everything.
Yeah.
And if you can do it, why wouldn't you? Wouldn't you try to go out there?
Yep.
Even if you only went out for an hour, and then you realize, okay, well, I can't. But you got out for an hour. You outfished for an hour. Like I said, it was a lot of guys that when I went to work today, when everybody says, "Hey, what'd you do? What'd you do this weekend?" Went fishing yesterday. Oh, I wish I could have went fishing yesterday. So they cut the grass. They trimming bushes. They went shopping. They didn't do anything. They just sat around.
Yeah.
So,
Basically,
hard.
did this, basically worked.
yeah. So it's like, that for me is fuel.
Yeah.
That appreciation and to know. And sometimes it's hard to do that. Like we take for granted, like a lot of things. Okay. And that's what's tough too, because sometimes when you post, like that's one something I worried about. Like, okay, if I post, and my post was more to be like helpful to people that, okay, just because something bad happens, just, make a decision. Can you get through it? Like, and maybe something positive could come out of it. Like, it's not guaranteed it's going to, but could it?
Right.
Right.
And it's tough because, and that's where I say the negativity comes, because a simple thing of trying to do something like that, and then the minute you mention, well, and I know that's why I don't think that I tried to mention at all that what my brand was of anything, because the minute you mention something, it's like, well, you should have bought this, you should have had this, you wouldn't have this problem. But we talked that no matter what you have, you're going to have problems with it.
Oh
Like
gosh,
nothing.
Yeah.
And so, it's just,
Did you drink all your milk?
anybody thinks they're going to go out there and their stuff is, rods ain't
Yeah.
going to break, wheels ain't going to break, and their boat isn't going to break, is living in that's a fantasy world, because
Exactly.
you're going to have far more issues than this. I think it's more though is like I think you said it best earlier. When it's something uncontrollable, then you just kind of go. I would be more irritating if it was something that I did, oh, I forgot to put the plug in the boat because I didn't set up my checklist of how to check to make sure I put the plug in the boat. Something that was self-induced would probably be more disappointing and discouraging to me, frustrating, than something I didn't have hand. Like I said, like I mentioned to you, like I hadn't been on the boat in 2 weeks, purposely, because, like as Mike said, Silver Lake was terrible for me. It was probably a terrible tournament. Fished hard, just could not catch a fish. I just whatever reason, I got a lot of bites. I caught everything but a bass. And it seems to be the year that I've had like is that if I was fishing for dinner, great. I'm not starving. I'll catch a fish every time I go out, and it'll be the biggest walleye I've caught this year. I've caught the biggest pickerel of my life this year. I caught the biggest crappie this year. It seems when it came to bass, though, like good luck, like it's not gonna happen. So that was like even that's why yesterday was a big to me. It was the first tournament this year that was productive for me, like that I actually achieved like something that I was trying to do, like so. And I did it when I didn't have like the full deck, like but
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you usually don't have a full deck.
I don't usually have a full deck. No, I don't. I've been told that a lot of times. I don't have a full deck.
All right, and Scott Callan has he's the guy that came up and tried to help with the boat.
Yes.
Very good point, Scott.
Yes, and he says our boats are not made to do what we do with the things are going to break. It's part of the process.
Exactly. I tell people all the time, like, I'm not a computer person. I turn my phone on, I turn my tablet on, and that's about the extent of it. And then, but on my boat, I have, and then other guys have more. I have 3 computers sitting up there.
Right.
And so when I first bought it, and then, everything's Bluetooth. So trying to get that all to work, like my biggest thing was when I tore my trolling motor out was, okay, now I've just disassembled everything and unplugged everything. I'm going to have to figure out what I have to link back together now to get it all to work again.
Right.
So Scott is right. Like we take for granted that we just think that we're going to go out there and these things are just going to because we wanted to do this or that, or, some things are disappointing because some things it seems like aren't built for the sport. Like, I know my boat, there's a couple switches that weren't really waterproof, I guess. So that was frustrating that, that, okay, these are just a problem that shouldn't have to have. But when you think about like how many times we got there and beat them up, like we're getting beat by waves, we're traveling down the road, they're getting rain, they're getting snow, they're getting wind. So the fact that these things work 50% of the time is actually pretty amazing.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, we're going to pretty much stop right here, and we'll definitely have Anthony on again. I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll fish another tournament and we'll do a recap with him there. But a couple takeaways from this episode is if you didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, or
Always have Constance cookies.
yeah,
Always have the cookies.
cookies. Have a plan, okay, and you have a checklist that you do in the morning, a mental checklist.
Yes.
That helps. If you have a plan that helps you stay focused. If something happens, it helps you get back on track. It can help you get back on track. And try not to overthink things. Control what you can, and what you can't, let it go. You can't control Mother Nature.
That's true.
Okay, so if you can't control something, I struggle with this. I really do. If I can't control something, it baffles me. I want to be in complete control of everything, and I'm sure the person off to my side here can contest to that. I'm not gonna say I'm a control freak, but I am, and being in the back of someone's boat is a struggle sometimes for me, because I'm like, okay, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, we should do this, we should do that, and so with that, if you can't control it, let it go.
It's about all you can do. I mean,
Yeah. But all right, everybody. Well, I'm gonna take Anthony off here, and we'll play some
Exit music.
exit music. Yeah. And Anthony, stick around. I want to talk to you a minute afterwards, if you don't mind.
no, I'm good. Yeah.
All right, man.
All right. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, sir. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I know we got a little carried away with some stories about the day, but I think what he said and what we were talking about is all good stuff.
You
So,
need my cookie?
so
She's eating just the edges,
yeah,
the sugary parts.
yeah, basically, if you can control it, control it. If you can't, let it go. When it comes to
You can eat it, baby.
when it comes to fishing, it's all fun. So everybody, take care. Have a great night. See you on Wednesday. We're going to have Tom Testa, the Bassmaster Open co-angler winner from Oneida Lake. He's going to be on talking about that on Wednesday. So everybody, take care. Have fun. Be safe. Wear your life vest and your sunglasses.
And your sunscreen.
Which I did this weekend. All right, everybody.